Hello students, welcome to my next video tutorial. So the chapter which we are going to start today, that is light, and the previous chapter was energy. So these two chapters are very related to each other because we know light is also a form of energy which enables us to see object, which helps us to view or see any object. Whenever light falls on any object, that light gets reflected and comes to our eyes, and our eyes sends an electrical information impulse to our brain, and our brain can recognize what we are looking or what we are seeing, right? So what is light? Light is a form of energy which helps us to see any object. Now the next question comes, how we see object? So whenever a light falls on any object, a portion of light get reflected back to our eyes, so we are able to see that object. Now it is very easy to see any opaque object. You see, what is the meaning of opaque? O-P-A-Q-U-E. Opaque means these are those materials which does not allow light to pass through it, right? Any blockage. Now if any cardboard, if light is placed here and the light rays are falling on the cardboard, this cardboard will not allow light to pass through it, and I will consider this cardboard to be as opaque substance. Similarly, a glass, whenever a light falls on any glass, that light will pass through that glass. So this means the glass is transparent, right? Similarly, if I consider a mirror, a light falls on a mirror and the light comes back in the same medium, same direction from where it was traveling. So this is called reflection of light, right? So we will go one by one term. So what is the primary source of heat and light? We know sun is the primary source of heat and light, right? So if I draw here one mirror, right? This is a plane mirror. Now whenever a light falls here, that means this is called ray of light. Now I can ask you, what is a ray of light? What does a ray of light means? It is a thin beam of light, okay, which has an arrow and it gives the direction of light. I repeat, what is ray of light? It is a thin beam of light with an arrow which gives the direction of light. So that means by looking the arrow direction, you can understand that light is traveling from which direction to which direction, right? So it indicates the direction of flow of light. Now you see I have drawn here one arrow, that means this ray of light is falling on the mirror. Now as soon as it falls in the mirror, it will get reflected back in the same medium. That means this light, this ray of light is called incident light. Incident ray. Okay. Similarly, this ray is coming out. That means this is called reflected ray. Right? This is reflected ray and this is incident ray. Now we will be drawing one normal. That means one 90 degree perpendicular. We have drawn one normal. Let us consider the name of normal is N and S. Okay. And this point, if I consider this one as A, this one as B, and this one as D, right? So AB is what? Incident ray. BD is what? Reflected ray. And N and S is what? Normal. Right? So the angle between incident ray and normal, this angle is called angle of incidence, right? This is the angle sign, angle of incidence. Similarly, this is the reflected ray and this is the normal. This is called angle of reflection. Okay. Let us see what is AB. AB is called incident ray. Right. What is BD here? BD is called here reflected ray. And angle I is called angle of incidence. Angle R, this angle is called angle of reflection. And N and S is the we have this point, that means point B. PTB means point. Point B means here point of incidence. Point of incidence. So these are the terms which is related with reflection of light. Okay. So let's see what is reflection of light from the diagram then. Reflection of light means here bouncing back of light in the same medium after reflection from a smooth surface. I repeat, bouncing back of light in the same medium after reflection or after striking a rigid surface or a smooth surface is called reflection of light. Reflection of light means bouncing back of light in the same medium after striking a rigid or smooth surface. This is the definition of reflection of light. Bouncing back of light in the same medium after striking a rigid or smooth surface is called reflection of light. Now reflection of light, this is the diagram. This is incident ray. After striking it is coming back in the same medium, that is air. This is reflected ray. Angle of incidence, angle of reflection. So these are the terms, right? So you need to write the chapter's name and you need to write the definition of reflection of light. Also you need to write what is light in the first session only, in the first minute only. In this video I told you what is light. Light is a form of energy which helps us to see object, right? So these notes you need to write in your exercise book. After writing these notes, you need to write the definition of each terms also. Okay. So after writing this one, you will write define point number 1 incident ray, right? Point number 1 incident ray. Then you will write the definition. So what you are going to write here? So each term definition also you need to write. Okay. So what is incident ray? The ray which strikes the rigid surface. Okay. Incident ray means the ray which strikes the rigid surface in the reflection of light is called the incident ray. So these definitions you need to write. Incident ray first you will write. It is the ray of light that strikes or falls on the surface of reflecting surface. Okay. Similarly, point of incidence you will be writing. It is the point where the incident ray strikes the surface of the mirror. So in the board we have seen that point was B, right? Next we have normal at the point of incidence. It is the perpendicular line drawn on the surface of the mirror at the point of incidence. That means that N and S in the diagram in the board which we have drawn. Next we have reflected ray. It is the ray of light that bounces off the mirror or the ray sent back to the medium in which it was traveling. Angle of incidence. It is the angle between incident ray and the normal. So this was the diagram, right? First PO. You see PO here. PO is falling on the mirror and OQ is getting reflected and ON is the normal. So if any light falls directly normally, then it will go straight. Okay, so below the diagram see what is written. Ray normal to the mirror reflects along the same path. That means whenever a light falls straight on the mirror, it also reflects back in the same path. Similarly, light rays are reversible. That means the light, when it is falling from here, it is reflected as OQ. But if light falls on QO, then also it will reflect on OP. So that means they are reversible. They will travel the same path after reflection. So these are the terms you need to write in your exercise book. Incident ray, reflected ray, angle of incidence. So angle between incident ray and normal is called angle of incidence, right? Angle of reflection means angle between reflected ray and normal is called angle of reflection, because this angle is between reflected ray and normal, right? So you can make a straight line here, same meaning will be same, right? So this is the reflection, angle of reflection, and this is the angle of incidence. So how will you define this? B. So B is called point of incidence. So it is a point where the ray of light strikes the mirror. It is the point where ray of light strikes the mirror. Similarly, what is BD here? BD is called the reflected ray. It is the reflected ray, means here it is the ray of light which comes out in the same medium after reflection of light. That means whenever a light falls on a mirror, so after the reflection of light, that reflected light is called here, that light which is bouncing like in the same medium is called the reflected light. Okay, so normal is the perpendicular line passing through point of incidence. You can write this definition short. You can write a perpendicular line which passes through point of incidence is called normal. Okay, and point of incidence already I have explained to you. So this notes you have to write. Next we have types of reflection. Types of reflection of light, there are two types of reflection. One is called regular reflection and one is called irregular reflection. Let's see what is the difference between regular and irregular. So left hand side, let us take regular reflection, and right hand side irregular, right? So let us differentiate between this regular and irregular. In regular reflection, let us consider this is the smooth surface. Smooth surface, let us consider it is a mirror. Then light is falling here, it gets reflected, right? Again light falls here, it gets reflected here. This is incident ray and this is angle of or reflected ray, and this is angle of incidence and this is angle of reflection. Angle of incidence and angle of reflection, angle of incidence and angle of reflection. But in case of irregular, so you see what I have drawn here. I have drawn here plane or smooth surface, right? So regular reflection takes place when light falls on a smooth surface. Irregular reflection takes place when light falls on a rough surface. So whenever a light is falling on a rough surface, like for example in road, then light will get reflected in every direction, right? Not in a fixed direction. So in that case we say that reflection of light, that is called irregular reflection. And irregular reflection takes place when there is a rough surface. Similarly, regular reflection takes place when the rigid surface is plane. Okay, this is the first point. Okay, so this is a diagram, and first point we will be writing, it takes place on a smooth surface. It takes place on a rough surface. Okay, on a rough surface, and it takes place on a smooth surface. Here reflected lights are parallel to each other. You see, incident light are parallel to each other, reflected lights are also parallel to each other. But in case of irregular, incident ray are parallel to each other, but reflected ray are not parallel to each other. Okay, so this point you will be writing here, reflected lights or reflected rays are parallel to each other. Reflected rays are not parallel to each other. Okay, so these are the differences you need to see. One more difference you can write here: regular reflection. Okay, images formed are very sharp and clear. Very sharp and clear. Here no images are formed. No images are formed. Okay, so irregular reflection has other name also. It is called diffuse reflection. Diffuse reflection, right? So because the images which are formed after reflection is not very sharp, it is just a glare and it gives a cut, right? So these are the differences between regular reflection and irregular reflection. So for this video only this much. So we will continue this chapter in my next video tutorial. So see the video till the end and write your name on the comment section so that I can find out who has watched my video seriously. Okay, and in the coming week after completion of this chapter again I am going to take an online test. Okay, so all the best.